Hey, it's Clay, and let's talk some science on why day traders eventually self-destruct. I've done other videos using science and then bringing that science into the world of the financial markets, the stock market, and those have gotten really good feedback, really good reviews. And then I stumbled across some more science recently, and upon doing some more research on it, learning about it more, it was one of those situations where just almost it's obvious, well, yeah, of course that's why day trading is so difficult. Of course that's why day traders eventually self-destruct. I mean, that makes perfect sense. So it's one of those things where after you hear it, I don't think you're going to be like, well, yeah, that makes total sense. But sort of hides in plain sight. But the good news here is that this effect is also, so the way our brain is wired, is designed to help us. And it will help us in the world of day trading or swing trading or investing if we put ourselves in the right context, which is what I'll get to. But what I want to start off with is, well, why does it even exist? Of course, I'll get to the what actually is it, but let's just, like I said, focus on why are our brains wired this way. So the science here in psychology is known as the near-miss effect. And as this article says, why would the mammalian brain be designed this way? Again, this way is just in reference to the effect itself. Why are our brains behaving? Why are our brains wired in a way that produces certain desires and feelings that you would have up in your mind, right? So why is it that way? And it says, and this is what I want to focus on right here. Rather, near misses help us stay motivated when engaged in activities that require actual skill and not dumb luck. Let's say we're learning to play basketball. At first, our shots are going to be all over the place, a seemingly random distribution of bricks and air balls. And yet, as we slowly get better, those shots will get closer to the rim. A few might go in, which is pretty thrilling. The purpose of near misses then is to keep us motivated while we slowly improve our form. If we only got excited by makes, we'd quickly give up, which is why the brain also needs a mechanism to register progress. And that's the key thing. This near miss is designed to motivate us, to keep us motivated, to inspire us. And I love this analogy here from the article about basketball, right? If you shot a ball and our brain was wired to only feel good, only feel a sense of accomplishment, only feel success, victory if it went in, think about how quickly you'd give up, right? You'd be like, shoot a ball, miss, done. That's stupid, done. Maybe not once, maybe 2 times, 3 times, I'm done. That would not be good. Not necessarily just for basketball, but really anywhere in life, right? Like for you to just give up that easily is just not going to be productive. But our brains are not wired that way. Our brains are wired to see, oh, it almost went in. Okay. And you feel good about it. I mean, have you been there? Not necessarily with basketball, but really anything where you almost succeeded. You almost got the desired outcome. And you actually you're like, okay, wow, you feel good about it because you almost got it. It was a near miss. Again, you still missed, but you were close. And you felt good. And because you felt good, you what? You wanted to keep on going. So in all actuality, the near miss, our brains are wired very, very beautifully. That's good that we experience a near miss, a quote unquote failure, because at the core it is, right? If you miss a shot, that is a failure, right? You failed. You did not get the desired outcome you wanted, but you were close. Oh, it almost went in. And because of that feeling, you're going to want to keep on going, and eventually you're going to get it narrowed down and improve the skills, and you're going to just get better at it. So that's why this effect, that's why this bit of, brain wiring exists. Now, in this article, they're talking about it within the context, though. So this is context. And this is also the brilliance of Las Vegas and casinos and all of that. But they're talking about this within the world of, as you can see here, gambling, Las Vegas. And the problem here, and this is where Las Vegas is absolutely savage, is this is basically how Las Vegas works. Now, after I've read and understood all this, the way I now focus and kind of envision Las Vegas and casinos is you have the casino, then like down in the basement, you have this whole group of neuroscientists and neurologists and psychologists and sociologists, and they're just like, okay, how does the human brain work? How is it wired to benefit us as humans? Okay. Now can we take that and flip it around and make us more money? And I mean, I'm not mad about any of this. It's brilliant. Well done. Well done to all the psychologists and all that these casinos hire or whatever. Because, I mean, it's brilliant to take something that truly is fantastic to have as human beings, something that keeps us motivated, and then flip it around so that you can make money. But how does it work? Well, as you can see, and maybe you're already looking ahead at the screen and you see where I'm going. But yeah, you go to Las Vegas, you play a slot machine, and you say, oh, wow, I was what? So close. But so close, what did that result actually cause you? It caused you to, well, lose money. However, from the brain perspective, what is and what does the research show is actually happening in this situation? Well, let's look at another article. Now, real quickly, just to point out that this article and the points I'm about to make, they are, as you see here from the numbers, they're citing their sources. So these numbers right there, they'll take you down to the big scientific papers that are multiple pages, use a lot of words that have lots of syllables in them. And so my point here is that this is not some like Billy Bob's random thoughts blog I found on the dark crevice of the internet. This is all he is citing sources from these big scientific papers that have been done on this. But as this article points out, and is the problem here, is right here, a 2009 paper in the journal Neuron showed that near misses activated the same reward systems in the brain as actual gambling wins. So in other words, that people, when they were gambling, like you just saw with the slot machine example, so close, even though they lost money, because they had the feeling of being so close, they went and, as far as their brain is concerned, their brain had the same effect as had they actually won money. Now, they didn't win money. They lost money. But their brain, the way it reacted, made them think, made them feel like, oh, they just won money. Now, again, if this was shooting baskets, if this was some other area of life, that's good, right? You want to be motivated. You want so close to have you keep going. But what's the context here? Well, let's go back to that slot machine. And what's the context of the slot machine? Well, the slot machine here is actually totally random, right? It is not giving you anything that you can control, right? And that's the problem, and that's why casinos and gambling, they like to they use this against the people. They make you think that you're almost close. And because you're almost close, you feel good about it. And what? You want to, well, let's keep on going, right? Just keep on going, keep on doing what you want to do because, yeah, you lost money, but I still felt good about it. I was so close, forgot the I there. So close, but I want to keep on going. And that's going to lead to, well, silliness, right? That doesn't make any sense in this context. Why doesn't that make sense? Well, not to insult your intelligence, but you're going to keep going at something that's causing you to lose money, but that event is actually random. Okay, how does that make any sense? It makes no sense except for the casino because they know that they're going to keep on making more money from you as long as you feel like your brain is, oh yeah, you were close. Oh, you were close. Keep on going. So in other words, your brain is motivating you to keep on behaving in a manner that is losing you money. But because you think you're close, because it's, near miss, you're going to just keep on going. And your brain is totally doing what it should be doing, but gambling has flipped it around on you in a sense of now all of a sudden you're facing these situations where all you're doing is losing more and more money. I mean, truly a savage thing. Now, if I've done my job right, you understand that the near miss effect in combination with gambling is not good. It makes no sense. It's a very, very dangerous situation, assuming you care about your money and, have a limited amount of money. So how does this relate back to the stock market or any financial market? But I'm just going to talk stocks here. Well, if the stock market is gambling, therefore, this would totally be applied, right? Because this applies to gambling. And that's what this whole study and all the research is basically relied around. So the question then becomes, well, can the stock market be a casino? Can it be treated as gambling? Absolutely. Now, I want to make a very big distinction. Is the stock market a big casino? Is all trading gambling? Absolutely not. Can the stock market be used to gamble? Can people behave in ways? Can people conduct themselves in ways that make it gambling? Absolutely. But Just because something can be used as a casino does not mean it's actually a casino. And that is why I would say poker is not gambling. That's why you've heard of a professional poker player before. One thing you haven't heard of is a professional slot machine player, right? Because as we just discussed, slot machines, that's pure randomness. That is flat out gambling. And when you don't know how things behave, when you don't know how to behave yourself, well, that's where things get really nasty. And this will mean a little bit more to you, but I'll try to give you a summary here. But if you were to go, and I'll put the link down below, but there is an effect out there, and this is a video that has been getting really good feedback, but the Dunning-Kruger Effect, that right there is a video that, like I said, I'll put the link down below, and you can go watch this afterwards. And if you want kind of the full picture of what I'm really getting at in terms of, why, day traders eventually self-destruct, is to watch that video. But as a quick recap, what that video is saying is basically the Dunning-Kruger Effect, another very well-researched effect in the world of science and psychology, is that when you don't know what you don't know, well, part of that is not actually knowing how to analyze the situation when you don't get the outcome you want. So in trading, that would just be a losing trade, right? Assuming you want to make money, then the outcome you want from a trade is to make money. So if you don't get that desired outcome, you need to be able to analyze, okay, why did I not get that desired outcome? And because of the Dunning-Kruger effect, like it says, when you don't know what you don't know, part of that is you don't know what lesson you're actually supposed to learn from whatever experience you have. Because, well, you just don't know. And that's where things get really messy here, because look at it like this. You have somebody that's a day trader, and they go and they make a trade, right? So they put on a trade, and then they lose money. So they go on that trade and they lose. And then, but I mean, they have that feeling of, close. So in other words, the near miss effect. They feel after they lose money that it was close. And the key thing here is, all right, yeah, that is what they feel. So they feel as though it was close. But then that brings us to the question of, okay, but that's just a feeling. What was the actual circumstances? In other words, were they actually close? Was it actually just a near miss? Or was there a lot going on where you would look and just say, no. I get it. You might feel like it was close, but no, you missed that. You missed that. You didn't consider this. Hey, and what about those other things over there? So I get it. You felt like it was close, but in all actuality, it wasn't close. But again, because this all, and this is supposed to be symptomatic here, but because this is all happening underneath the umbrella here of the Dunning-Kruger effect, when you don't know what you don't know, you don't have the ability to even really understand and realize whether or not your feelings of you being close to making money on that trade are actually valid or not. But when you don't know what you don't know, you can just say, oh, I was so close. And what does the near miss effect say? What is it going to do? It's motivating you. Motivating you to what? Well, keep on going. But if you're going down a pathway that doesn't actually make sense, that's not a valid pathway to go down, is that a pathway you want to go down? Of course not. But that's what the near miss effect is going to motivate you to do, is keep going down that pathway. But Clay, why would I be going down a pathway that's not suitable? Because when you're new and you don't know what you don't know because of the Dunning-Kruger effect, you don't know that that's not the right pathway you're supposed to go down. Do you see how savage this is all becoming very quickly? Your brain is doing what it's supposed to do. It is motivating you, but it's motivating you to do stupid things with your money. And I realize you could be saying, but Clay, just like the basketball, you just got to keep on going. Yeah, but every time you miss a shot and when you're out there practicing basketball, that's not costing you money. You don't lose money as you learn how to shoot a basketball. But in trading, you are, when you miss, when you lose, you literally lose money. Well, Clay, that's what paper trading, that's what a simulator is for. Give me a break. I mean, if you're honest with yourself, or I mean, if you listen to my there's so many resources out there. I've seen it so many times. Clay, I don't understand what's going on. In the simulator, I was making so much money. On paper, I was doing so well. And then I went to real money, and it just, things fell, the wheels fell off the bus. I hear it countless times. Like I said, if you're being honest with yourself, maybe you've been there. So I get it. It's one thing to say, well, Clay, you're right. Money is finite. Money's limited, but that's why I'm going to do paper trading. So I can iron out all these wrinkles. How are you going to iron out wrinkles when you don't know what wrinkles even look like? When you don't know how to iron out those wrinkles? Again, the Dunning-Kruger Effect. Context. What context are you behaving under? And if you are behaving under the context of the Dunning-Kruger Effect, then, well, eventually you're going to self-destruct because you're being motivated to do things that you don't want to be motivated to do. And then you're just going to, by default, self-destruct. That's why, at the casino, most people, they just give back all their gains, right? They are motivated. Oh, I was so close to make, oh, I was so close again. Oh, I was so close. And their brain is making them think, oh, you were so close. And again, the research literally states that so close is activating the exact same. In fact, I want to just bring that up because it's really crazy when you think about it. It is bringing up right here. Right here. Showed that near misses activated the same reward systems in the brain as actual gambling wins. But again, near misses, meaning the loss of money, activates the same thing. So as a trader, I get it. You're sitting there, you're thinking, oh, I was so close. I'm so close to figuring it out. How do you know you're so close to figuring it out? Just because you feel that way. But if you don't know what you don't know, you have no idea if you're actually close, if you're so close, if it was, a near miss to figuring it out and making money. And this all brings up the question, okay, yeah, Clay, I get it. Calm down, buddy. Calm down. That's probably a fair point. I need to calm down. I'm looking into my cam right now. I'm all alone. I kind of feel like a psychopath right now, but this stuff is crazy. Anyways, so that does bring up the question, okay, well, I get it, Clay. This is a bad environment because of the near miss. If the near miss effect is operating under the context of Dunning-Kruger effect, well, then yeah, by definition, a day trader is going to eventually, or a swing trader is going to eventually self-destruct. So, I mean, is there a way that we can leverage the near miss in our favor? Good question, and absolutely. Now, how do you do this? Well, you need to bring both, of course, good information into your life, but also structured and good information. I will be the first to admit, and anybody that tells you otherwise, they're deceiving you. What you need to learn how to have success as a day trader is all 100% out there for free on the internet. Like I said, it's all out there. It is all out there. There's lots of good information out there. But here's the thing is, there's also lots of bad information. And again, Dunning-Kruger effect, when you don't know what you don't know what's good information, you don't know what's bad information. But let's just do this to really illustrate the point here. Let's just say that somehow, and I don't know how this is even possible, which makes this a crazy assumption, but let's just say you are somehow, with the Dunning-Kruger effect, still able to pluck out all the bits of good information out there. You still have a massive problem on your hands. You don't have any structure. If you start learning about those good information in orders that don't make sense, well, then all you're going to do is confuse yourself. You're going to feel overwhelmed, and it's not going to turn out the way you want it to. I always like to use math. So let's just say you somehow pick out all the good information about math. But then you start to learn about geometry before you learn about addition and subtraction, before you learn about calculus, and then you go and learn about subtraction, and then you learn how to count to 10. I mean, that's all good information, but if you learn about it in the wrong order, then all it's going to do is confuse you and you're going to feel overwhelmed. And that's the problem with the random sea of information out there in combination with the Dunning-Kruger effect, is you're out there swimming around in maybe good information, maybe bad information, but there's just so much randomness, and randomness is what brings about what? Gambling. And the near miss effect in combination with gambling, as hopefully you now realize, is not a good combination. However, let's look at it under this environment here, right? With structured and good information. So you can still have that trader that makes a trade. And I should note that structured and good information, just because you have it, that doesn't mean that you'll never lose money again. You're still going to lose money. But the big difference is assuming the program, again, is good and structured, is you're going to learn how to manage risk. You're going to learn how to be disciplined, how to formulate trade plans, money management, risk management, all that stuff that maybe isn't the most exciting to talk about. I mean, because let's be real, everybody wants to talk about how much money can you make. Let's talk about winning. But no, true trading education is about, hey, let's talk about risk management. But that's the case, is you will still lose money. But the big difference is this, is you may make a trade and be like, oh, I was close. So again, that's the feeling, right? You have the feeling that, oh, you were close. And because of that, you're feeling motivated. But the difference is, what do you have to consult? Well, now you have consulting with a structured and good information. And I'm not saying that I'm the only person that offers this, so that's not my intent. I'm just using myself and my program and community as an example because I can speak truthfully and intelligently about it because, well, I mean, it's my program, so I know how it works. But in my program, somebody could take the trade, take a loss, and then feel close, which is good, right? Because again, as we've discovered, feeling close, that's good. It's going to keep us motivated. But there's a checks and balances, right? They can go back to the community and say, hey, this was my trade. This is what I did. This is what I experienced. They could email me directly. Am I right? Or do I have the near miss effect here, which is backfiring on me? And they can actually get feedback, because here's the other really tricky part about the market is, and I can't stand this, one of my pet peeves, but people out there will say, hey, and they say some sort of cliche saying. And the saying basically implies that, hey, you lost money, but there's a lesson to be learned. That's not true. In many situations, well, not many situations, but in some situations, there is no lesson to learn. The only thing to learn is not a lesson. It's more of a reinforcement. The reinforcement being, yeah, the markets offer no guarantees. So you could do everything right. Your planning, your vision, your structured trade plan, and you still lose money. And you know what? That doesn't mean that there's anything to learn. Because if you got to learn because maybe you did that wrong. No, maybe things are just not guaranteed. Maybe you don't need to change anything in your strategy. Sometimes that's the outcome. So, and that's what you should be. Oh, you're close, and you know what? Yeah, sometimes you're close and it just doesn't work out. Now, to be fair, in most situations, especially if somebody's new, then yeah, there's lots of learning lessons from a loss because they could have done that. They could have factored in that. They should have been paying attention to that other thing. But that's the idea, is when you're operating under the context of good information and structured and a community that you can go to, you can go ask, hey, was that feeling good, or was I just, and you're going to get feedback. And that's what you need. You need to be surrounding and putting yourself in a structured environment, because per what we've learned about the near miss effect, it's going to keep you motivated. But in this situation, in good ways, because this way you're not going to be going down some path that you don't want to be going down, or that you shouldn't be going down, because of if the program is set up the right way, it's going to be like, nope, wrong path, stop, turn around immediately. But when you're out there just swimming around, you have no idea. And then eventually that's going to lead to self-destruction. And I'm not sitting here trying to come across as, hey, so buy my program, because my program is the only one out there that can help you operate under a structured information or a good information environment. I'm sure there's lots of other programs out there. So if you feel more comfortable with somebody else, or you think they offer something that's better fit for you, awesome. Go with them. Now, of course, to be transparent, I would love for you to go with me. I'm not going to sit here and deny that. But at the end of the day, my goal here is to please realize the importance of structure and good information. And this is not my opinion, really. This is good, scientifically backed up research. That Dunning-Kruger Effect, combined with the fact that your brain is wired to get you motivated, and in this situation could be getting you motivated to go down pathways that you should not be going down, but you don't know you shouldn't be going down those pathways. Hopefully you can see why structured and good information is actually a good thing. How long? Wow, this video is way longer than I thought. I got ranted and raven. In fact, let's do this. I'm just curious. If you're still with me right now, in the comment section, can you just type "still with you"? Just 3 words, "still with you." And if you're one of those people, I thank you very much for sticking with me through all of this, because it's important. It's, like you said, sure, it's my opinion on how the science fits into trading, but it's not really an opinion in the sense of, this is just how the human brain is wired. And when you mix in certain things, it can give you bad outcomes. And it's a bad outcome when the gambling industry is the background of all the research, right? You know that, hey, you know what? This exists, and in fact, Las Vegas used this against humans. And if Las Vegas is using something against you, I think it would be wise to realize how they're using it against you and then how to avoid it. And it just happens that, that logical thought process fits nicely into the world of trading. So find yourself some good information and surround yourself with structure. I get it. Yeah, that costs money. And just to, wrap that up, this is not strictly, I fully do believe in this stuff. I've talked about this in other videos, but when I went into the world of real estate investing, I invested just shy of just a little underneath $5,000 to learn how to do it, because I did not want to allow. Now, at the time, I didn't sit there and say, well, because of the Dunning-Kruger effect and then the near miss effect, if those things collide, that's going to be really bad for my real estate investing career. I didn't look at it like that. I didn't even know these things. Well, I knew they existed. I just didn't know the terminology of them. But yeah, I do believe in investing because you invest a little bit amount of money, it can save you a whole lot more within the big picture. So just consider that, whether it's my program or somebody else's, really consider adding some structure in combination with good information. And, science says that, you know what? You're going to have a much better chance of not ultimately self-destructing like most people ultimately do. So if you enjoyed this video, like I said, if you're still with me, bless your heart, but hit that like button. That's a very time efficient way to communicate to me that, hey, Clay, I do like these science-based videos. Also, comments, questions, suggestions. Like I said, if you're still with me, comment that down below. Or like I said, any other kind of comments or questions or suggestions. And then finally, if you enjoyed this video, check out the channel. There's lots of other videos, lots of variety of them. So hopefully you like what you see enough to ultimately hit that subscribe button, as I'd love you to have it as subscribed to the channel. But yeah, the near miss effect, a great thing, a brilliant thing for our minds to keep us motivated. But let's make sure we're being motivated under the right context and under the right circumstances. First off, thanks so much for watching the entire video. Real quick, before you go, I want to invite you to a live webinar, web class, training, workshop, online event, whatever you want to call it, but it will be me live revealing to you what I've discovered that has allowed me to transform myself from being an employee to being my own boss, including how I had only one losing day out of 73 days in total. I'm going to cover 3 keys that have helped me unlock profitable consistency within the markets. The first key is super weird, but in a productive type of way. The second key is super awesome because it quite literally is wired into our DNA as humans, making it very easy to use. But in a cruel way, this becomes a pitfall for many traders. I'll explain it all though, including how to avoid the pitfall that it creates for some. And yeah, the third key, when you hear it, sounds way too good to be true, but it's not, and I'll show you how it all works. Then at the end, I open it up for a question and answer session that is, again, totally live. Even if you can't make the live session, please still sign up as it will be recorded, and you can go back and watch the replay that I will send you. Click the image on the screen or click the link down in the description box so you can get the date and time and claim your spot, which I should note is limited due to the fact that this truly is a live event. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, I'll be seeing you soon.